Hi, I'm Lisa Shu, and I'm a partner at Threshold Ventures. So I've been in the New York ecosystem for over a decade, which I think officially makes me a New Yorker. Before I got into investing, I was an operator at two fantastic New York-based venture-backed startups, Peloton, which obviously went public, and Handy, which was acquired by Angie's List in 2018. After the last startup I worked with got acquired, I started actually networking in the New York ecosystem to find my next role. I was looking for either a co-founding experience or to get into like a higher level, more strategic role. And I started networking with venture capitalists and kind of fell in love with the job just as described by them, and really learned kind of the way they worked and decided to make the jump. I started my venture career at First Mark Capital, which is an amazing New York-based seed and Series A firm here. It's been around for almost 15 years, and that's where I cut my teeth, found a bunch of great companies to invest in, work with them side by side for almost 6 years. So I've known the Threshold team for over 3 years now. I met them in the ecosystem and really got to know a lot of the team just by working alongside them and collaborating, especially with Megan, who sits here in New York. I was really drawn to the team and how they worked, but I was also deeply convicted in Threshold's investment strategy. So Threshold, the name actually comes from the term threshold effect, which describes this phenomenon of nonlinear growth once a critical threshold is crossed. And that's really where we seek to invest, at these threshold moments, where companies feel the momentum from the right market dynamics, the right team, the right technology enablers, all coming together to create this amazing kind of first inflection point, and that's where we seek to invest. We are on our fourth fund as Threshold, $450 million vehicle. In our fund, we seek to invest in 20 to 25 positions, so each investment partner is making 2, maybe at most 3 investments per year, which really gives us the time and energy to focus on those investments. When founders go through their Series A fundraising process, they have the choice of a lot of different funds that they could partner with. I think our philosophy to how founders should think about this really mirrors how they think about kind of all the important decisions that they make in company building, which is, almost like a jobs to be done framework. Just who is the right partner for that stage that you're building in? What do you need to kind of complement you? And who's going to strike the right balance between, giving you autonomy, but also being there when you need guidance and support. And so we really view the ecosystem in a number of ways. The venture ecosystem has matured so much, even in the 7 years that I've been investing. Pre-seed and seed are, we view as its own asset class, right? Like that model, the way they engage, even the way they construct their portfolio is completely different than how we approach it. And similarly, on the other side, in the growth stage or in the multi-stage where funds are, $1 billion plus in size, the way they need to deploy that capital and the way they're able to engage with founders is very different, right? They really do need to scale. They have large platform teams, right, to not outsource, but kind of supplement the investment partners, right, as they think about supporting a very large portfolio of investments. So I think the way founders should think about us is we are kind of purpose-built for the stage that they're in, which is they've got early product market fit, they feel real customer pull, right? They're actually looking for a partner who's seen the scaling journey, but can also have the capacity to absorb some of the idiosyncrasies that come up in early stage building. And this can be a lot of things, right? This could be thinking about product strategy and prioritizing roadmap amidst a very rapidly changing ecosystem. This could be helping them think through an important hire or set of people decisions. Our philosophy is, of course, we have amazing support. We have a talent partner. We have networks. We have a lot of things that the platform teams of the mega funds do. But I think the difference is we are investment partner first, and we guarantee to our companies that we will work with them kind of hand in hand, and we'll be the touch point no matter what the problem is that they're experiencing. So what I recommend to founders as they're going through the process is really understand how decisions are being made at the funds that they're considering. So of course, deeply diligence that partner with founders, with ecosystem players that they trust, and make sure they're aligned with your vision and how you want to build the company. But I think equally important is to understand, hey, if things don't go perfectly right when I really need it, how are these decisions getting made at the fund level? Like, does my partner need to go back to a whole committee, right, and make a whole argument? Or if they partner with a firm like ours, can those decisions be made very transparently and collaboratively throughout the process, right? Not just at the critical moment. One of my focus areas at Threshold is, vertical software, or now being rebranded to vertical AI. It's a super exciting time to invest. It's not surprising there's been a lot of hype, a lot of noise about it. As someone who's been investing in this space for at least through the last generation, there's been a really interesting shift. Obviously, the last generation of vertical software companies, the Toast, the Procores, the Service Titans of the world, they were really built on the idea that you need a vertical system of record, right, that does a lot of things, an ERP, a CRM, a point of sale, all of the above. But as we kind of went through that era, a lot of the large market opportunities were built around, and then what was left, it seemed too small to support venture scale outcomes. So I think the big unlock now with AI, LLMs, generative AI is we've kind of turned the software value proposition on its head, right? You probably heard this idea that now work is being delivered by software, right? Like service as a software as opposed to software as a service. That's very much true, and I think we're seeing that in very, very concrete ways as software is able to deliver not only the jobs and the workflows, but kind of entire functions and departments within these traditional companies. Everything from scheduling appointments to taking inbound calls to drafting documents. That's all kind of being done 100x faster than it was before. So I think the real unlock here is TAM is kind of like, this question of TAM is being thrown out the window. So you think about what companies spent on software that was pretty defined, almost finite. And then like laborers, like a lot of these companies, it's their biggest line item. And so if you can start to expand on this and displace some of that labor spend, your TAM is kind of opened up completely. So a couple examples, two companies that I work with closely, Numa in the auto space, they sell to car dealerships, NVIDIA in dentistry. They've both really augmented the end customer's ability to profit. So increasing revenue, decreasing costs, and instead of laying off people, that's not been the case at all. It's allowed those people to focus on much more impactful things, right? Like talking to customers, being strategic, and it's made a huge impact. And we're seeing that's, a lot of the labor spend that's displacing has been, outsourced, offshore labor, BPOs, that kind of thing. That goes first, right? Allowing them to focus the onshore teams, in-house teams on a lot more strategic, high-value things, which is super exciting. So with these AI native vertical software companies, the interesting part is the traction and the growth has been astronomical, off the charts compared to maybe the previous generation of software that we looked at. But then the question that's raised is always, what are the real moats, right? Now that AI and the LLMs are delivering so much of the value, what are the software companies really doing to build a platform, right? A generational platform, potential public company, this type of scale. So I think we're starting to see some really interesting moats emerge, and we're able to be pretty specific in the types of deals that we look to invest in at those threshold moments. So one of the interesting things I've seen is traditional modes of go-to-market combined with deep product partnership has been a game changer for these AI companies. And it often takes, of course, a really strong team that's executing fastest, that's able to grab mind share in order to develop these partnerships, whether that's distribution or otherwise. An example, NVIDIA, the portfolio company I mentioned, has this deep partnership with Henry Schein, which is that vertical market ERP, which is a practice management software. And that partnership enables them to, one, have a sandbox to experiment with new product development. So that's helped them iterate much faster than competitors, but also has built-in distribution because they're very deeply integrated with the system that's on every dentist's computer screen. So we felt at the time that Florian, the founder, established that partnership, that was a threshold moment where critical growth could occur after, which is why we chose to invest at that point. Another interesting moat that I'm starting to see and build a thesis around is this idea of a new, call it new age AI-driven database. So unlike a traditional database, which is kind of like static, has entries about customers, these AI native companies can build a real-time dynamic repository of all the documents, conversations, insights. One of the companies I partner with, Motion, is building just that, this repository of insights that agents are delivering upon which other applications can be built. So this is kind of like this new notion of what a platform could be, right? It's this much more powerful, very defensible data set that's specific to the customer that now AI can accelerate the value creation out of, which is super, super exciting. So for founders building really interesting vertical AI companies that are delivering outsized value for their customers, that are starting to build these moats that I described, and that really are setting the course to market leadership, I'm super excited to meet, and this is a super interesting time to be investing in this space.